Hey, everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. This week, I thought I'd touch on a topic like many. We've touched this topic a little bit before, but we'll approach it just a little bit differently today. And that topic is how we can communicate effectively and, more importantly, respectfully as a supervisor. Thinking about this topic, I think it matters more and more because we're in a constantly changing work environment where our employees want more and more all the time. And in order for us to really garner their trust and their respect, they expect us to treat them in a certain way. So we'll kind of dive into this, but this is based on an article that I read by Kevin Burns, which is really quite interesting. And he kind of starts it out with the fact that our employees don't really work for us. If we kind of change the perspective on that, we really work for them, we serve them, and our job is to support them so that they can be successful. And as a result, then, we're going to be successful. It's kind of a subtle shift in perspective, but it really transforms our role from somebody with authority to more of an empathetic leader who really leads with influence. And I think as a supervisor, we're not just managing tasks, we're primarily nurturing human connections. That's the most important thing. So let's explore a little bit, this mindset and some things that we can do. And I think as leaders, the number one thing that we have to think about, and this takes discipline and it takes practice. And I know for some of us it's really hard, but we have to be present. We have to be actively listening with our ears wide open. I know a lot of times as leaders, we feel like we have great ideas and we have a lot to say, but sometimes, maybe even most of the time, we're better off saying less and listening more. I would say from a leadership perspective, we should listen at least 75% of the time and speak 25% of the time. I know that's really, really hard to do. No question about it. It takes a ton of discipline. And active listening isn't really so much about waiting for your turn to speak. It's about immersing yourself in the speaker's world, the person you're talking to and what they're saying. It's just truly listening deeply to what they're trying to say. And when our frontline employees and workers, those who report to us, share their thoughts, like I said, we have to be ultra or uber present at all times. We need to put down our paperwork. We need to turn off our computer, ideally turn away from our computer. And then there are a few things that really make a big difference. So the first one is eye contact. We have to make constant eye contact with them. If you're a note taker, then I encourage you to say, do you mind, or ask the question, do you mind if I take some notes? That way they know that you're focused on them still. You may not be making eye contact at every moment, but they know that when you're not, it's because you're truly focused on what they're saying. Secondly, emphasize with them. Empathize, not emphasize, empathize. And kind of imagine walking in their shoes. What are they feeling? What challenges do they face? I think here, when we're speaking, we're asking questions, seeking to understand, showing curiosity. And questions aren't about gotcha. Questions are about genuine interest. And I think that when we do this the right way, our staff, our employees truly feel it. And I've been around some great leaders who do this really, really well. Secondly, speak very clearly, avoid jargon as much as you can. When you communicate, aim for clarity. That should be our goal, to make sure that they truly understand what we're saying. If there's an expectation, I encourage you to ask them to repeat it just so that you can confirm that they understand it. And again, simple language. Don't speak above their heads. Don't use acronyms that they may not understand. Now, this isn't a game of Scrabble. It just simply isn't. Be succinct as much as you can, show brevity, and try not to drive something into the ground. I'm very long-winded, as most of you probably know. And I think that short, impactful sentences make a lot more of an impact. And then, as I mentioned before, repeat what you're saying confirm that they understand what you're saying for clarity. And that way that message is effective, because you're going to deliver a message, they're going to receive it. You're going to ask if they understood it. They're going to repeat it. That way, you know, in that cycle, that message has been received, and vice versa. If they're bringing something to you, you should emulate the same thing in return. Finally, I think really, really important, use positive language. Sprinkle kindness everywhere that you possibly can. Show appreciation to people. Say thank you. Even if you disagree with what they're saying, they're coming to you with feedback. Say thank you. And you know, be really good with constructive feedback where you're being fair and honest, and avoid all negativity. That's the number one thing. Even if you're upset or frustrated, do everything you can to avoid negativity. Make it positive. And if you can't answer or come up with a solution at the moment, buy yourself some time. Say, you know what? I have a lot to think about. Can I get back to you? And then commit to them when you're going to get back to them. So, you know, some takeaways, maybe something that you could share with your team is you could talk about scheduling informal chats over coffee with your team members, where you can ask about their weekends, their pets, their dreams, get to know them a little bit. And I think this really helps with the mental health crisis we're dealing with, because it shows greater connectivity. It builds trust. They're more likely to come with you. Another idea was Feedback Fridays, which is an opportunity to share appreciation, discuss learnings, and sprinkle some growth dust in there. And then, you know, like I said before, the power of thank you. I don't think we could say thank you or show appreciation enough. It's incredibly impactful. It's generous. It shows people you care. It builds trust. So there's a little leadership tip, I guess, we can say for this week, and we will see you next Wednesday.